Hello everyone, welcome to today's news charter. Today we'll be discussing some of the most important topics that were in the news, and I will explain you how you should be analyzing the news from prelims, mains, both perspective. So the idea is every student should be reading the newspaper, but when you read, you should also know how to analyze it, which topics you should be concentrating on, what are all the important points you need to know from prelims perspective and mains perspective also, which we'll be discussing today. So the first important topic that was in news was purchasing managers index. Purchasing managers index is a topic which generally comes in news regularly each and every month because it is a monthly measure. This is the reason it is very important. It is a survey based measure and it talks about manufacturing sector and service sector both. So this point is extremely important because we deal with manufacturing sector and service sector also. It is a index which gives measures from 0 to 100. If the measure is more than 50, that means from the early month, from the previous month till this month, the manufacturing sector has been expanding. If it is less than 50, it is declining. And if it is exactly 50, that means no change. Such points are important for prelims examination. They can easily make a prelims question out of it. Usually released at the start of every month. Who is taking care of it? IHS Market is taking care of it. They are releasing this. IHS Market is a part of Standards and Poor Global. So this particular topic is very important from prelims examination point of view. Global Stocktake has continuously been news in the recent times, and especially for this year, it is extremely important. You can expect a question in prelims based on this because the COP 28 is going on, and everyone has been discussing about global stocktake. What is global stocktake? Very simple. In 2015, the Paris Agreement happened. In Paris Agreement, all the countries decided that we will ensure that the temperature of the world will not cross 2 degrees Celsius, right? Will not cross 2 degrees Celsius. However, we need to have some kind of measure to identify whether the countries are doing enough or not. That is what we call as global stocktake. To assess the individual country's effort to reduce the global greenhouse gas. So INDCs, that is nationally determined contributions. These are the promises which each and every country gives to the world that we will be taking care of these kind of measures in order to reduce the greenhouse gas. So whether these things are done or not is what we call as global stocktake. One major criticism is legally it is not legally adhesive on any of these parties to follow it. So parties can follow it, or parties, if they do not want, they can leave it also. This is a major criticism. Global initiative of academic networks has been in news, and it is very important because in paper 2, there is a topic called education. Under that, and also there is a topic called human resource development. So under these two topics, this scheme is extremely important. We always tell that Indian universities or colleges lack a practical touch. So in order to make sure the people, the students who are studying in colleges and universities will also get exposure from scientists and entrepreneurs, we have come up with this concept called as Global Initiative of Academic Network. The idea is to bring scientists and entrepreneurs close to the students. So apart from Indian entrepreneurs and scientists, even international faculties can come into Indian institutions and teach. So this is why this particular topic is very, very important. It gives students the exposure of the recent changes, the recent trends. And apart from everything, one important point is it gives a very good teaching experience in niche areas. Niche areas are small areas which have started to develop in the recent times. For example, quantum mechanics, quantum computing, biotechnology, research in genomes, genomic study, these kind of things. So here the experts can come and teach the students, which will provide a very good exposure. Read this topic specifically. It is very important for your prelims examination, and even in mains examination, when you get a question on how to improve our higher education system, you can mention this point. It is a very excellent measure taken by the government. Sparkling disability inclusive rural transformation. This is also very important because in paper one you have society, in paper two you have social issues. So disabled people and their welfare is a very big issue in India. In order to enhance their involvement, enhance the involvement of disabled people in the general society, we have started the Sparkling Disability Inclusive Rural Transformation. Which organizations are involved in it? International Labour Organization and then International Fund for Agricultural Development. These two have combined with the Maharashtra government, Maharashtra's Women Development Corporation, and then are implementing the Spark project. Here, what we will be doing is they will go to the villages, they will identify persons with disabilities and train them with disability inclusion facilitators. So there will be a set of people called disability inclusion facilitator. Their work is to include the disabled people in the general society. Their focus is more on women with disability. What they will be doing is they will engage with the self-help groups, SHGs, the self-help groups of the villages, and then they will try to provide them loans. They will try to provide the women skills so that women can become entrepreneurs. Now, I hope you understand why this particular topic is very important, because it doesn't stop by giving some skills to the disabled. They also want them to be entrepreneurs, especially women disabled people. So it helps in a very big way to promote awareness among the society and inclusion in economy and the society also. Adultery has been in news recently. It is a very controversial topic, and that is why you should also know about it. Earlier, there was a section called IPC 497. According to Indian Penal Code 497 section, adultery is considered to be a criminal offense. But the problem is, it was not gender neutral. That is, if a man engages in adultery with a woman who is already married, he will become a criminal. Whereas a woman, if she is engaged in adultery, she will not be considered as a criminal. So indirectly, this provision was telling that women is a property of men. So this is why in 2018, in Joseph Shine versus Union of India case, the Supreme Court decriminalized adultery. The Supreme Court told that sexual preferences cannot be considered to be criminal offense. It can be civil offense only. So what they told us, if someone is engaged in adultery, the husband or the wife can sue them for divorce. They can ask for civil damages, but then they cannot be considered as criminals. Recently, what happened? Parliamentary Standing Committee on Home Affairs told that, recommended that we should introduce this section again, but we should make it gender neutral. So both men and women who are engaged in adultery should be criminalized. This is what Parliamentary Standing Committee is telling. What is the reason? The reason what they told us, marriage is not just an arrangement. Marriage is considered to be a sacred thing in Indian society. So due to this, we have to implement it. In 2003, earlier, Malimat committee was there. It advised the provision to be gender neutral. When you get this kind of question in your examination, what I would suggest is always go with what the Supreme Court has told. The Supreme Court has clearly told that it can be a civil offense only and it cannot be a criminal offense, because you can find very good arguments in support of this. Article 21 is there. Article 21 of the Indian Constitution tells clearly that we have right to life and right to personal liberty also. So sexual preference of a person comes under personal liberty, right? No matter whether they are married or not. One important point to be noted for mains examination perspective, the total number of disabled people in the world is 1.3 billion, which is actually equal to Indian population, total India's population. So this you can mention in your introduction if you are getting a question on persons with disabilities. What are the initiatives taken by the government of India to enhance the livelihood of the disabled is very important for your mains examination. Take it as a homework and go through it. Try to collect examples, collect the schemes, and then mention it in the comment section also. From prelims examination perspective, there was a very important point which you can note for your examination about methane. Methane is a greenhouse gas. Methane is more potent than carbon dioxide. There is a measure called the global warming potential, which we call as GWP. Study about it. Definition of it is very important. GWP means they will take a chemical and compare it with carbon dioxide. What is the GWP of carbon dioxide? That is considered as 1, and then we compare other chemicals with the GWP of carbon dioxide. So methane is 28 times more potent than carbon dioxide. Nitrous oxide is 265 times more potent. Super sulfur hexafluoride is 23,500 times more potent. Why these measures are important? Because in prelims, they can give you 4 chemicals and ask you which of these are more potent, or they can ask you to arrange in chronological order for the GWP of these given chemicals. And another important point is carbon dioxide lasts for several decades, whereas methane breaks down very easily. So this is a important point. What are the sources of methane? This point should also be studied because they will give you 4 sources and ask which of them are the sources of methane. So study about each and every point in a very detailed way. So that will be all for today. Thank you. We'll meet tomorrow.